Hello, and welcome to Crossroads Radio at iHouse, New York. We're here with our special guest today, Ceren, and she's from Turkey, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her life here at iHouse. Hi, Ceren. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. And you?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you. It's nice.
Yeah, me too. It's exciting.
So, before we get started, maybe just tell a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and I guess we could just get right into it.
Yep.
And how did you or why did you make your way to New York and International House?
Yeah, wow, that's a huge question. I'm from Turkey, and I'm coming from Istanbul, like the well-known city. And I was I studied developmental psychology. I did an MA in Turkey, and I decided to make a PhD in clinical psychology. But it would be a change again in the career, so I should consider to have a master's degree first in teachers college.
Okay.
Then it would be like a nice step, I thought.
Okay.
And I didn't have any place to stay, and I was on websites trying to figure out where to stay, and I saw iHouse. That was it. That was when I realized, and I was like, what are they do they want us to write a statement of purpose? What is this? And I was I think I was excited because that sounds pretty cool actually. and I applied, and I was when I came to New York, I didn't know that I was accepted though. For
really?
several days I was miserable, and then that was good.
So you came without knowing you had been admitted into
I had a
IHOuse.
friend here, so I stayed over. But I didn't know.
That's pretty funny because when you were applying to live in an this is a living community, so it's a little bit different than an apartment.
Yeah.
But to have an essay that you have to write, why you want to live there,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty. In a way, it's like what, and then in the same way, oh, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
If this is how they're choosing people.
Yeah, you get inside and you try to figure out what's happening in the house just to have some ideas.
Yeah.
And while you're writing, you realize that you wanted more and more. I can do this. I can do that. And it's it's pretty cool actually. Yeah.
And so how did you find out that you got in? So you came to the U.S.
Yeah, I
from
came.
Istanbul, and
Yeah.
you're waiting and you're staying with a friend
Yes.
here, and then
I went to the orientation at Columbia, and I hated it. And I came back to my friend's house, and I was with my pajamas. Then I was a little bit sick, and I was jet lagged and everything. And then it was the third day of my school, I guess, that I was trying to figure out talk to the residents of Columbia, just to find some place to live in. I was really desperate, and I saw the email, and I was really happy. That made my day.
Yeah, that's always. I think I had a similar moment when I saw my email. I was like, they want me. They really want me. It was so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's talk a little bit about your program. So when you were back in Turkey, you said it's a bit of a career change.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, I studied engineering actually, industrial engineering. I don't know why I did that though. I mean, I thought a lot. I've been searching a lot for what is the right job for me. I was going crazy about that actually. And I was my father is really a logical man, and he wants to do things in an analytical way. He told me, write down, my daughter, the pros and cons of being blah blah. And it was not that much emotional what I did. My choice was quite I used to like science and maths, and so I end up in the science field. In Turkey we have 3 different fields, science, maths and literature, and social. So I was in science. So I had a couple of choices. I could be a physician, I could be a lawyer. No, not lawyer actually. It was the math part. So I could be a physician, I could be a engineer. Actually, I didn't have that much choice.
Sounds like.
So at one point in your life, you narrow down your choices, and it's the worst part of life, I guess. You shouldn't narrow them down. I mean, like even if they force you, like you shouldn't think that way. I guess like you shouldn't narrow your choices in your mind, like because you can become everything. And yeah, I was thinking like, okay, I think being physician is hard,
Yeah.
especially in Turkey. Like you have to, I mean, 10 years from now, like I wouldn't be enjoying what I do. I mean, that was stupid. Like being a physician is like huge. Like it's an amazing satisfaction, I think.
Yeah.
But at that time, my father is a physician.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted me to see hospitals and talk to his friends, and everyone was telling. But in Turkey, it's quite common. Everyone
Sure.
would tell you, "Don't do what I do," because they're not happy.
Oh.
So.
Did your father's? But your father, would you feel pressure from him? Like,
I
you should do this. You'll be good at this, or something like that.
I would love to if he have told me something like this.
Oh.
You know what?
Yeah.
But the thing is that since my childhood, I grew up as a really like little kid who decides what she wants to do.
Yeah.
But then it's hard because like how you learn what you want to do, like you need a guidance there. Like
Yeah.
you need someone to watch carefully what you're doing, what you're enjoying, you know, and then they can tell you, you know, but look, you can do this, you can do that. So they didn't want to like intervene in my choices.
Okay.
So that yeah. So
So you after the list, you visited hospitals.
yeah,
and all
I
this.
did.
Yeah,
Like, it was so funny. I was talking to my father's friends, and they were like, "Are you crazy? Don't become a physician. Like, do something else. Like, something else. Like, not becoming a physician. It's not good." And I was like, "Okay, I won't be a physician." I used to act like at that time. I used to act a lot, and I used to love it. But it's like in order to be an actress, you should go to a conservatory. So you have to be in the social part. Like
Right.
I was not in the social part, so it would be a huge decision if I decided to go to the social
So it's like
field under high.
So like social studies kind of area or
yes,
liberal arts.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I sucked. Like I was really like I was not good. But actually, like they were not teaching us in a good way. Like they wanted us to memorize many things.
Yeah.
So we were some amazing teachers, but I was not lucky in that terms. I had my teachers. They were always like wanted us to memorize things that I really sucked. So I always thought that I'm not good in social sciences.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't want to change it, and I didn't want to study acting. Actually I think now that I really wanted to do. But again, people told me acting, no, do something else. Like if you can't do something else, don't act. Like the only field that people in Turkey were happy was actually like whenever they become engineers or business, you know, that kind of things, like because they were earning good money. So I don't know why they were thinking that it was good for them, but they were thinking that, you know.
So, a question: when you came here and there's a bunch of actresses and artists here, how did that change your perception on things a little bit?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
Because IHOUSE has a lot, for our listeners, IHOUSE has a lot of artists. Manhattan School of Music, or...
I find this amazing, first of all, like, because, you know, I feel that I belong to this community, and seeing that, like, artists are, like, part of this community, like, it embellishes my, you know, self-concept.
Yeah.
And I love it, and one of my best friends here, like, she's studying acting also, and when I first came here I was thinking like I'm going to New York, I should do some acting, and then I end up doing a psychology workshop for performance here.
Cool. Yeah.
And I had this idea of like combining psychology with acting. I think it's pretty like the same thing. You just like your object is the same thing. You take human.
You learn about your subject in a similar way.
Yeah.
Either
you have the same.
Be them or to help them. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think like actors, they know a lot about human, but they don't know explicitly,
Right.
and like if you ask them to show, they can show you.
Mhm.
If you ask them to tell, maybe they would have like I'm sure they can tell, but like psychologists, they like because it's kind of a science, like they know the thing explicitly, but if you ask them to act or show, maybe they won't
Right,
be
right.
able to do. So
So
yeah.
talk about your program specific. Like where is it, and what are your classes like, or do you have
Oh.
favorite professors? Or?
Yeah, I'm. Actually, it's like the clinical psychology program. It's a teachers' college,
Mhm.
and I mean, what is good is that like the teachers, the professors are really good in their field,
Mhm.
and I mean, it's a great pleasure to listen to them. You learn a lot, and the program is good because you have lots of choices about like you can choose whatever class you want, and it's pretty open to like you can plan it whatever you want. So that's good, but it's really crowded. It's like almost 70 people or more, like maybe.
Oh,
So
that can be tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like in some classes, if it is popular, it could be like 40 or 50 people in the class. In other classes, there are some little classes like seminars and everything, and it can be like 20 people.
Okay.
I mean, first I was really, as I told you in the beginning, in the orientation, I was really disappointed because we were like 50 people in the same room, and they wanted us to choose our classes at the same time. She was like going to write the PIN number, that was a
Oh my gosh.
password,
Yeah.
like this, and she was like going to write that down, and as soon as she writes that down, you have to choose your classes, and you could, some people were not lucky just because of the technological
Sure.
issues,
Yeah.
and they were not able to choose them. I was like, how could that happen? Like, oh my
It
god.
seems a little bit unfair.
Yeah, but actually, it got really good after, because of the quality of the classes are really good.
Okay.
Like, so you learn a lot. You don't have a grading pressure, like they tell you in the beginning in general that you're gonna get an A. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because most like the level of work's pretty high, and people are.
Mhm.
It's not like people are slackers or like don't try. Is that
Yeah.
what you-
Yeah. Yeah. They in terms of the evaluation, they evaluated in a good way, I guess. I don't know. I have no
Right.
idea about that, but yeah, they're quite optimistic in many terms. And I remember one of my professors, she was like, I want you to enjoy this. Oh, maybe it's because I'm in psychology program, I don't know. Wherever I go after engineering, like I find people extremely sensitive about my emotions, and I'm like, wow. It's like, it's wonderful. If you go to an engineering school, people would just talk about, other stuff,
Right.
and not your emotions.
They're like, well, what did you get on that test? Okay, well then
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
I think it's like that here too
Yeah.
at Columbia.
And psychologists always refer to what here and now,
Uh-huh.
like what are we doing, how you feel. This is the end of the semester. How does that sound to you? And it's like, wow, okay.
This is, so I always think this, like someone who's studying psychology. Do you ever just start to analyze people, like without even, like just by accident? You just start analyzing them?
The thing is the opposite. Actually,
Oh.
like you as a person, it's why you studied psychology. Actually, I used to analyze people way a lot
Mm-hmm.
before I studied psychology.
Oh, okay.
Because more you learn, more you understand that you can't do that.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's just not.
Interesting.
It's just not fair.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then do you have like a favorite moment or like a funny story about one of your classes or in your program or something like that? If you don't,
I
it's
mean,
okay.
Yeah, I remembered because I shifted in Turkey from
Mhm.
engineering to psychology. I have really funny stories in Turkey that happened because all of my like classmates, they had a psychology undergraduate degree,
Right.
and they were quite familiar and they knew what they wanted to do in even in little special like little projects of class.
Mm-hmm.
They had an idea of what they want to do, but me, I didn't have any idea. And I remember like for one of our classes, one of our teachers, she asked us to choose 2 different variables related to human psychology and like to compare something like this. They all knew what they wanted to do. Me, I couldn't sleep like 2 weeks, and I was like desperately trying to find out 2 things that could be related, that it could be like, and it was so funny. They were making fun with me. It was like hard to switch, actually. It was funny. And the comments that I was doing in class, they were really like, I remember times that were like, what? I've never thought that way. Yeah, that's a question, actually. If you don't know nothing, you can ask really basic questions like a little child. I think they like it, like, I mean, but it was funny.
But you still like it, and is it something you're still interested in doing? How long is your program for?
It's actually 3 semesters.
Okay.
But I'm gonna do it in 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 That's what I ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
You just get to meet more people, and you get to, I think, learn a little bit more in depth instead of rushing your way.
Yeah.
Through. Cool. And so that means you'll get to be at iHouse for all that time, right?
Yeah, of
Woohoo!
course.
So let's talk a little bit about iHouse. What are some things that you like about iHouse or don't like?
I mean, like,
You talked a little bit about it. We kind of talked a little about having artists here, and your friend was already staying here, so.
I mean,
nice
iHouse, like, there are some things in life that you can't find the words to tell how amazing it is.
Uh-huh.
Like, I always tell to people, it's not the real world. This can't be the real world. And like, some part of me is a little bit sad because I feel, no, it's not the real world, And I feel like after 3 years, or if I stay 3 years, or after 2 years, if I go back to Turkey, I would miss it a lot. It's amazing. Like, you don't have to plan anything with your friends. You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit hard to study. But I love it. I love that part also. I mean, hopefully I'm going to be the peer counselor next year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So this is something amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, like you live here and you have the opportunity to apply what you learned.
Right.
And also, this is a way of contributing to your community also. And I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. I mean, I can't wait for this experience.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool opportunity, I think. It's kind of like having an internship in where you live.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how you said that you get to contribute back to the community through it. So it has such a direct effect.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And so just kind of a little silly question. How many languages do you speak?
3.
3.
Yeah.
So you speak French as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I heard you speaking French.
I was in a French high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my university also, that was a French. I mean, I love French people and I love friends. I mean, that was a really stupid exam to get into a college in Turkey.
Uh-huh.
I didn't go to college through the system.
Right.
I bypassed the system, and because there was a French college in Turkey and they were doing their own exams.
Okay.
Because I was coming from a French high school, I was similar with their system, so the exam was not easy, but I was familiar with everything, so I didn't have to. I also you had to have a certain points in the exam also, but I feel that I owe them, kind of. I feel that because it's like the exam was not fair in Turkey, so yeah.
It was not fair because you had taken exams like that before, kind of thing? Or?
I mean, what you learn in the school is not the same as the content of the exam, actually.
Okay.
That's the main thing that is not fair. In 3 hours, there's a multiple choice test, I suck in multiple choice. I told you like my memory thing. Like I don't, because like many people used to study it by memorizing little tricks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm coming from a French high school where like we were used to do demonstrations on 3 pages. You know, you think through it. You just you learn it in a really deep way, and I hated it when I saw the exams like that.
Did you do? Was it oral exams too?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's how you got into the French university.
Yeah, it was
the exam that you
to my undergrad.
Okay, interesting. So how have you enjoyed like the because we have like salons and so we like salons like a night where the house comes together and has a musical performance or kind of what anyone who wants to do in the artist community in the house. And so have you enjoyed those kind of activities? Yeah,
it was great. I think it should be more of them, more of everything. I don't know, like I mean, if it is more of them, it will be impossible to study then. But yeah, I love solemn nights. I love the parties that are here. I love maybe there are many things that I don't remember here, but there was an improvisation acting workshop that I loved. I remember, and I mean, I don't remember Sunday suppers and full fiesta. I mean, All Nations.
Yeah, All Nations is pretty cool.
Yeah, everything is quite cool. And I did the workshop here. That was one of my personal projects, kind of my dream to teach psychology to actors. So that was a great opportunity also for me.
Great. Do you have any advice for maybe hopeful iHouse or people, or maybe just for next year, because we're coming to the end of this academic year? Do you have any like hopes for next year? Or
I mean, you know what? I was thinking maybe that if I think a lot, like maybe other things I would say, but I was thinking like All Nations should be kind of a festival thing, like not one night thing, but 3 days or 4 days, like a festival in iHouse.
Right.
You can walk through and enjoy things, because I remember that I didn't have time to, like at one point I was working in the Turkish food booth and then I was drunk. So so I don't remember if I enjoyed it enough, you know what I mean?
There's so many things
I danced
to do.
Before the food booth. I was dancing, and then I went to the food booth, and then I was drunk.
And then you're drunk. Yeah, there's so many things you want to do. I think like, well, also you get full after a certain point. Like if you go to all the booths, you can't eat all the food from all the booths because you get full.
And it was crazy crowded. Like, I mean, with that material and with that work, I'm sure that it's possible to make it, a 3-day event.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have, like the table fare at least longer, because it's just such a small amount of time to soak in so much.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
It's nice we finally got to have you, and we got to do this, and I think it's so interesting to hear, everybody's story about being at iHouse, how they got here, what it's like here, and again, it was a pleasure having you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. See you.
See you.
Bye-bye.